Welcome to Nightfall Narrative, where we explore the difficult stories we're often too afraid to tell. For 365 days, I completely ignored my family. No calls, no texts, no holidays. And it was, without a doubt, the hardest and best challenge I have ever done. For years, I felt like I was drowning in their drama, with this insane anxiety that I actually thought was love. I was 100% sure the silence would break me. I thought the guilt and loneliness would be so bad that I'd come crawling back like a total failure. But that's not what happened. Instead, in that year of insane silence, I discovered 3 secrets about my family that changed everything. This is not a video about hating my family. It's a video about what happens when you finally choose yourself. And if you're watching this, I bet some part of you has thought about doing something this crazy, too. So why did I do this insane challenge? It wasn't a random idea. It was a death by 1,000 paper cuts, thousands of tiny moments that built up to one giant breaking point. For as long as I can remember, I was the family's fixer, the peacemaker, the 24/7 emotional crisis hotline. My feelings were an inconvenience, but everyone else's feelings were a massive fire I was always expected to put out. Family gatherings weren't fun, they were insane performances. I would literally rehearse conversations for days, plan my entrances and exits, and get ready for the next passive-aggressive comment. I'd show up with a fake smile plastered on my face and a massive knot of dread in my stomach, and I'd leave feeling completely drained, like my life force had been sucked out of me. And this wasn't just in my head. Researchers say this kind of exhaustion is a top reason people cut off toxic families. It was destroying my mental and physical health. I tried setting boundaries. I really did. I read the books, I listened to podcasts, I literally practiced in the mirror. I'd say, I can't talk about that, or I'm not helping with that, or please don't comment on my weight. But every time they acted confused, angry, and then hit me with extreme guilt. My boundaries weren't respected, they were seen as a rebellion. You're being so sensitive. We're just joking. After everything we've done for you, you can't do this. They were masters at making my needs sound crazy. It became obvious that any boundary I built was just another wall they needed to smash. The breaking point, the final straw, wasn't some huge explosion. It was quiet. It was my own birthday. For weeks, I was crystal clear. I just want a quiet day, I said. Please, no big party. It was a super simple request, but in my family, what I wanted was just a suggestion they could overrule. The day started with a group text. Surprise! Everyone is coming over to your place at 2 p.m. to celebrate you. Can't wait. My heart didn't just sink, it crashed. It felt like I'd been punched. I was in my own living room, my safe space, and I suddenly felt completely trapped. With my hands shaking, I texted back, I'm sorry, there's a misunderstanding. I really just wanted a quiet day. Today doesn't work. The response was instant, and it was a tidal wave of guilt. But everyone already made plans. We bought a cake. Don't be a spoilsport. This isn't just about you, it's about family. And that was it. This isn't just about you. That sentence was the story of my life. In that moment, something clarified. I saw I had 2 choices. I could spend the rest of my life setting myself on fire to keep them warm, or I could walk away from the fire completely. I typed one last message. I am not available today or for the foreseeable future. I need space. I turned my phone off. The silence was the loudest thing I had ever heard. I had no idea it would last a year. I just knew that if I opened that door at 2 p.m., I would lose what was left of me. This wasn't a random choice, it was survival. I was just too tired to perform anymore. The first few weeks were weirdly peaceful. It felt like I'd escaped a hurricane. That constant anxiety that was the soundtrack to my life just stopped. I didn't realize how much energy I was burning just waiting for the next crisis call until it was gone. This instant relief is actually super common. It's your nervous system finally powering down. I slept through the night. I could actually read a book. But that peace was fragile. As the shock wore off, a wave of guilt so powerful hit me that I thought it would literally drown me. It was a toxic cocktail of fear, obligation, and guilt. I learned later there's a name for this. F.O.G. It stands for fear, obligation, and guilt. It's not just a feeling, it's a crazy manipulation tool that keeps you trapped, and I was lost in it. The fear *** was insane. The fear of being abandoned, of being the villain in their story. Every time my phone buzzed with an unknown number, I'd get a shot of adrenaline. Would they scream? Would they cry? The **O. Obligation was a voice in my head that sounded like mine, whispering. A good son or daughter would call. Family is everything, and you're throwing it away. That feeling was programmed into me from birth. And then the guilt **. The guilt was a heavy, suffocating blanket. I felt guilty for the pain my silence was causing, even though I knew it was the only way to survive. I felt like a fundamentally bad person for choosing my own peace over their comfort. Then the social fallout began. My decision sent shockwaves through my extended family. I started hearing things. Family friends reached out, not to check on me, but as messengers. Your mother is heartbroken. You're tearing this family apart. You need to get over it. These people are literally called flying monkeys, sent to guilt trip you back into line. A smear campaign started. All of a sudden, I was selfish, ungrateful, and mentally unstable. The story was that I abandoned my perfect, loving family for no reason. It was incredibly isolating. How do you explain a lifetime of tiny emotional cuts to someone who only saw the perfect family photos? You can't. And the stigma is real. Even though some polls show 1 in 4 American adults is estranged from family, we still talk about it like it's a huge secret. The isolation felt crushing. And I know that what I'm describing, that fog, that guilt, that pressure, is where so many people turn back. It feels unbearable. Here at Nightfall Narrative, we believe in the power of shared stories. If any of this sounds familiar, listen to me. You are not alone. You are not crazy. And you are not a bad person. Let's use the comment section as a space for us. Share one thing you've struggled with or one truth you've learned. You don't have to tell your whole story, just a piece. Let's blow up the comments and show each other we're not the only ones. After I survived that first brutal wave of guilt, something new started to happen. The silence stopped feeling like a punishment and started to feel like a space, a laboratory for myself. And it was here, around the 4 to 6 month mark, that the real discoveries began. For the first few months, I felt empty. Without the constant drama to manage or the emotional fires to put out, who was I? I realized my entire personality was just my role in the family. I was the responsible one, the peacemaker, the scapegoat. My personality was a collection of trauma responses. This is a classic sign of what experts call enmeshment, where you do know where your emotions end and theirs begin. My entire sense of self was tied to their approval. I didn't know what I liked because my life had always been about them. Without them, I was invisible to myself. It was terrifying, but it was also an invitation. Slowly, I started figuring out who I was. I bought a brand of coffee just because I liked it. It sounds small, but it felt like a revolution. I took walks without my phone. I watched movies they would have hated. I tried new hobbies. I joined a pottery class. My first few pots were ugly and lopsided, and it was awesome. There was no one there to judge it. It was just for me. For the first time, I was getting to know myself, and I was starting to like who I was meeting. As the months passed, a deep sadness settled in. It was different from the guilt. This was quiet and heavy. I found myself missing them, which was so confusing. Why would I miss people who caused me so much pain? I'd see a happy family in a commercial, and the ache in my chest was so sharp it would take my breath away. It took a ton of journaling and talking to a therapist, and you should absolutely get professional help to figure it out. I wasn't missing the reality of my family. I was grieving the loss of the idea of family, the one from the movies, the unconditionally loving mother, the supportive father. I was mourning a fantasy. A therapist called this ambiguous loss, which is grieving someone who is still alive. It fit perfectly. You grieve the relationship you never had. I was relieved to be free from the dysfunction, but devastated that I had to free myself in the first place. I had to let go of the hope that they would one day magically change. Only by grieving that hope could I finally be free. For the longest time, my biggest fear was that I was the monster, that I was the problem. The silence was the ultimate test of that theory. A boundary, after all, is a request. A healthy person might get hurt, but they'll eventually try to respect it. A toxic person sees it as an act of war. My silence was a boundary. Their reaction told me everything. It started with love bombing. Suddenly, I was getting packages and gifts with messages about how much I was loved. It felt good for a second, but they never once acknowledged why I was silent. When that didn't work, the tactics shifted. The smear campaign got worse, and then came the direct messages, and I saw a pattern so clear. It was like it came from a textbook on manipulation. It's an acronym called DARVO, deny, attack, and reverse victim and offender. First, they denied my reality. We have no idea what you're talking about. We've always been supportive. You're imagining things. This is classic gaslighting. Next, they attacked my character. You are selfish and ungrateful. After everything we've done for you, this is how you repay us. You are cruel. Finally, they reversed victim and offender ***. They who caused the harm claimed to be the victims, and I, who was hurt into silence, was painted as the abuser. How could you do this * to us? We're the ones suffering. Seeing this pattern play out so perfectly was one of the most validating experiences of my life. It was the final, painful proof I needed. My silence wasn't the attack, their reaction to my silence was. They had no interest in my pain, only in getting control back. In that moment, the guilt disappeared. It wasn't my fault. I wasn't the monster. I was just the one who finally stopped playing their game. The 365th day came and went. There was no big reunion. I didn't wake up wanting to call them, and they didn't show up with a big apology. The day was just a Tuesday, and that was the lesson. The work wasn't about them anymore. It was about me. The year of no contact was a cocoon I built for my own transformation. So what happens after the year is up? Did you go back? The answer isn't a simple yes or no. The person I was at the end of that year was not the same person who turned off their phone 365 days earlier. I had a stronger sense of self, and I was never going back to the old dynamic. I didn't go back to how things were. I chose peaceful distance. I reestablished very limited, structured contact. There are new rules. Conversations are on my terms for short periods. Certain topics are off limits. If a boundary is crossed, the conversation is over. It isn't a warm relationship. It's distant, and it's what's sustainable for me. For some people, this is a good outcome. For many others, permanent no contact is the only safe choice. Both are valid. But the biggest change wasn't my relationship with them. It was my definition of family. I spent a year without my original family, but I wasn't alone. I found it in the friends who sat with me while I cried, who listened without judging. I built a chosen family, a support system based on mutual respect and love that showed me what a healthy connection felt like. Life now is calmer. The constant chaos is gone. The anxiety is now just an occasional visitor. I still have moments of grief for the family I wish I had, but the change is permanent. I am no longer a side character in their drama. I am the main character in my own life. That year of silence gave me back my own voice. That year of silence taught me that my identity isn't my family role, that my grief was for a fantasy, and that a toxic person's reaction to your boundary is all the proof you'll ever need. It taught me that sometimes walking away is the most loving thing you can do. If this story resonated with you, it's because this is a shared human experience we're taught to be ashamed of. Choosing yourself isn't selfish, it's survival. Your feelings are valid, your pain is real, and your desire for peace is the healthiest instinct you have. Whatever path you choose, know that you are not alone. If you want to keep having these kinds of real conversations, I hope you'll subscribe to Nightfall Narrative. And most importantly, if you are struggling, finding a qualified therapist can be one of the most powerful steps you can take. This journey is hard, but you don't have to walk it by yourself.